Hello and welcome to this new episode of Small Talk by Avanscoperta. I am Alessandra and today we'll explore the topic My Flow with AI Assistants with our guest Uberto Barbini and our moderator Alberto Brandolini. But let's
Hello.
welcome them. Hello guys.
Hello.
Hi Alexandra, hi Alberto.
Thanks both for accepting the invitation. So before we get started, just a quick reminder, we are on live stream on YouTube and LinkedIn, so you can interact with us, with Berto and Alberto during the conversation using the chat on YouTube and LinkedIn. But I'll pass it to Alberto, so enjoy.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. Hi, Uberto. It's a pleasure to host you. And I would rather get to the first question. You spent the last month working with AI, exploring new flows, and working on your new book about the topic. And I wanted to start with. We are maybe scratching the surface type of question, like what was the most interesting discovery for you in your new habit changing on how to use AI as a software craft person?
Thank you for the nice question. And actually, I started using for the first time. ChatGPT. It was since several years, and then there was the period where everything was about the visual, so there was midnight and stuff like that. But the kind of the things that really make me change when I first used a cursor in January of last year, so January 2024, and it wasn't. I mean, at that time it was still a bit rough, but it was already kind of amazing for many things. And so I keep using a bit more, and then last autumn, so more or less, it's roughly 1 year that I'm use basically every day, and since it was also a period, between jobs, so I had a lot of time to do my own project and using. This kind of AI assistant and web coding before we had the web coding world, and and then now that I'm again working with the big corporate, bigger code base and everything, I'm still quite happy because I can still using basically every day, and it's actually completely different way to use when you are on a big code base following customer driven stuff that they want the button brown and change add the column in the report. Instead, when you are web coding your next product for the future startup, when you say, I want this feature, I want it's completely different way to use. And they are very useful in both way. But is this enough? I can continue?
No, it's just I remember reading your manuscript that one of the things that was striking me was the many references to the Canvac and TDD style and principles of simple design and so on, and I got the impression of this really needs a lot of discipline. It's been in a place full of temptation, and you have to be something like a Buddhist monk to only pick the thing that you need. Otherwise, you could get completely out of control. And that was interesting because it was a very mature attitude on a very interesting field. And can you tell us something about it? It just or did I get it wrong? Or
Yeah, just a bit of context. I started within this book a few months ago, and the book is mm, almost complete. It will be out with the pragmatic programmers in October, as you know that there will be first a beta. It's a small book. It's like 100 pages, so it's not. It's kind of a booklet, but so we have we. Even after it will come out, there will be a few months to refine and look at the feedback and stuff like that. So, having said that, yes, this is one of my you know bigger insight. In the book, I have this image that when you learn to ski, you need to keep at the edge when you are, especially if you are a steep track, because otherwise, if the ski drives you, it you can be very fast, but it will be very short.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, that's the kind of thing, because definitely using heavily using AI assistant give you at some point this it's a bit of mix. First, there is this false feeling of security. I mean, yeah, and then there is also a bit of laziness. At some point, you kind of start, okay, no, I don't really need to read the code. I don't really need to use my brains. Just let, I mean, yeah, the assistant said that everything is okay. So why you run the test?
yeah, yeah. Like
And
AI is sticking with the wrong side of your brain. Yeah, you
yes,
don't know. Yeah,
you are a genius. So
yeah, just
Alberto, you don't need.
yeah,
and yes, and this is it goes very bad, because if uh, you know I'm in some conversation, I'm like the super AI guy, because I mean I'm using AI every day. I think that you can write a great code with AI, and I think it's really boosting the productivity, whatever. I mean, I can actually do more, definitely. But on the other side, when I'm talking with the AI enthusiast, I'm totally skeptic about the hype, this AI intelligence, whatever. I mean,
yep.
even the name AI for what are called LLM, I mean, it's just marketing at the end. But I mean, um, the false dichotomy fallacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. False dichotomy are very bad things, but we need to accept that, because the alternative is cannibalism. So
Okay. That's a good example. No, it's actually hard to get any clear perspective. Like that's a place where there are too many voices, and I really trying to understand what is the skin in the game behind the person talking about something. Like you might have people saying like AI is a revolution, and then you're actually making money out of it. Surprise, and
yeah,
and
the amount of money is mind blowing. I mean, even in the most crazy days of internet bubble, there was nothing near this. I mean, hundreds of billions, trillions. I mean, these are
yeah.
completely out of.
Yeah, so it's hard to get the signal from the noise in this space. So let's narrow it down for a person in your role, position, and seniority. What is the signal? What is the structure, the change of habits that makes you more productive or efficient or effective?
I like a friend of mine kind of summarized that I mean, the more a task is boring, the more AI is useful.
Okay.
So, So on one side, I think there is no reason now to do boring stuff. I mean, if if I have a ticket, let's say change add the column, add the field, change a bit if here and there. This is stuff that definitely AI can do, definitely, and just give the ticket to AI, and then review the code when it's finished, and you can go down and prepare a coffee or answer to few emails. But when it's something that you actually need to use your brain, I mean, you wanted to explore a new design to put the foundation of a new stuff. You definitely need to know what you are doing. And the other point, I think, especially talking about from professional developer point of view, is that I mean, current AI is definitely not able to work with a bigger database, a bigger code base, and produce what you want. But even if it was possible, you really don't want it to be kind of out of the loop. I mean, if you don't know what the AI did and why it did that, why people are paying you, I mean, you are cutting out from your job because the main point of a developer is a developer is not paid to tip tapping the code. Is paid because you know the domain and you know how the code is structured. So you can reason, you can have an estimate, you can have a discussion. If you do stuff completely blind, but that the code is terrible and they will probably fire you anyway. But even if they don't, you basically have no idea what's going on. I mean,
I remember there was one line that was about you vibe it, you run it, like you own it, like it's about responsibility. And then, well, senior developers know, like, okay, well, this will have to get through maintenance mode, and this means like ownership and responsibility and trying to understand what is written. So that's the space that might help us understand how to control, how to decide how much speed to live.
And I mean, this is also true on the opposite side. I mean, for stuff that you really don't care, I mean, it's just a POC, you wanted to show something. I mean, AI, you can go definitely with web coding, not to look at the code, simple stuff with a small code base that the LLM build itself, so more or less follow what you think are the good principle. Well, the principle that has been trained on is definitely able to progress very quickly. And definitely, if you don't plan to release on the public or stuff like that, I mean, you can definitely, I mean, do something that will take 1 week in a few hours, and that's also a lot of time saved.
You mentioned very large projects and code bases, and this is where AI starts or LLM starts reducing their effectiveness. Is there any trick or any strategy that we can play? I'm also thinking domain-driven design space, bounded context maybe. I know you explored this space a little, so anything that you can share with us would be great.
I mean, you know how the LLM work. So basically, they just try to progress on, I mean, continue whatever is the prompt. So they really cannot keep the whole big code base in their mind. So they need a lot of document to support, so that they can be like the stepping stone before they start writing code. So if you have a document that say we wanted to write code in this and this way, the design is based on this and this, and you can even, I mean, produce this document. I mean, let the LLM produce the document, but you still need to review and make sure that makes sense. And domain-driven design is actually pretty good because even if people don't realize, LLM are easily misled by hard to read code. In that sense, similar to human. I mean, they don't care probably about the name of variables or name of methods much, but they definitely, if the code is confusing, they also get confused very quickly. And if the code has meaningful names that kept in the whole code base, that's very useful. For example, one typical small things, but I mean, in our code base we have a lot of customization for each country, and one of the typical thing of LLM is that they pick up the wrong count. I mean, you say, I wanted to change this client attribute, and try to change on the Japanese client class that should only have the override or stuff like that, because they just reason with the names and use grep and find or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so if you start from scratch or you have a very good naming convention, that's definitely something that helps.
Okay. Did you manage to try maybe connecting with partition, bounded context documentation, or anything like this, like that's keeping the language sharp and reduce providing instruction in some ways, or maybe somewhere in the MCP space. I know you've done a lot more than we did, but
I mean let's say that it can work basically, and the point is always try to, even for example, if you have a layer design, making sure that the LLM is aware of is aware means it needed to have in the prompt somehow. I mean, because in the file stuff like that, because the other typical things, and I mean, just something that happened today, so it's pretty fresh. I asked, there was a table, and one of the attributes of the table was not filled for an element, and I asked, oh, please add this to this other element. And what I meant is go on the backend, find this kind of item, and put the correct data. What the LLM did is just change the UI and put some JavaScript stuff that was putting kind of guessing what that will have been.
Yeah.
And because it was missing the kind of content, and I have to say, no, not here in the backend, and then he was able to do that. Guiding, he was able to do that.
Yeah. I saw a question from the list, like apart from individual productivity, how did you change your team's practices to multiply the overall effectiveness? Or I had a similar one that was about how the team relationship change in this scenario.
Well, I mean, AI can also be used apart from coding for writing documentation, get minutes from meeting automatically. So there is a lot of things in the general project management where AI is useful. But keeping, I think the question is anyway still based on coding, and well, there is not much, to be honest. I mean, the only thing that I can that is important is to keep the documents. So there are this rule set where you want to
Yeah.
specify what how to write the code convention, how to write the test first. Don't put the stupid comments that just rewrite what is in the code or stuff like that, and keep them in the shared repository so that can be updated by everybody and keep in sync everybody. But apart from that, it's more like an effect of some task that used to be longer take a much shorter, like put um, non translation, but make something translatable.
Okay.
With a few hundred items. AI can do that in 20 minutes. And then otherwise will be like a 2 or 3 days task for a human, because also people got bored.
Yeah.
Other tasks they actually don't get any faster at all, and there is also a bit of risk of talking what we mentioned before, that people start using AI even when it's not helping. So just trying to now do this, now do this, now do this, and go in this kind of loop where actually if you write the code it will be much faster.
Yeah. Yeah, then you get into you have to finish that. I told you so. Yeah, it turns into psychological battle somehow, and it's being able to read your emotion might actually help probably. And I see that the chat there are two kind of similar question that were about which assistants agents do you use, and also Jackie, have you used any specific assistant to do specific tasks? Hello, Jackie. And if so, which task? So anything like mapping. The feeling is of kids in a toy shop, and which one should I start with?
No, actually, it's a bit. Also, here is very different from for new stuff like web coding. I really like, to be honest, open code. I think, or cloud code is the famous one, which is and there is the open source one that is called open code. But of course, you need to have some kind of subscription, and those are command line tools, and they are much more to do something like web coding. So you almost never look at the code, so there is no point to have an IDE, because 90% of the IDE stuff you don't care about. And that's very effective. And instead of to work in a bigger code base, I've used Cursor, Windsurf. Windsurf is probably my favorite in this moment. I use CodePilot and the JetBrains one, Juni. Juni, for example, is particularly good at understanding the code. So that's another thing. When I joined the new company, AI, let's say LLM, has been really, really useful to the onboarding process. I was able to be kind of productive in a few weeks instead of a few months. That's and also not only productive, good for the company, it was also good for me personally, because much less stress. When you needed to, you don't know how to do anything, a bigger code base, and you need to ask and waiting for people. It's a bit frustrating.
Yeah.
So, and the journey is probably the best one on this kind of extracting information, but it's not always great in writing the code. So I also switch model, switch tool when depending on the task, depending on, and it's also harder to feel because I mean, every time there is a new version, the things change slightly, and GPT used to be bad, but the GPT-5 actually is my favorite now because Claude that was my previous favorite, tends to do too much. I mean, I
Okay.
don't want. I ask her to put a button and you write 25 new rules and stuff that I.
Okay, overzealous, and so I noticed a few other things that were interesting to me was the way you find more than one way to interacting with AI. So sometimes you just like the the knight riding a horse and you're telling the horse where to go. Other times just you flip the situation like AI gives you suggestion about what to do, and so or maybe give you a plan, and also flipping from these two sides, and so experimenting interaction was an interesting thing. Any thoughts on this? Anything that it was a good discovery or
Yeah. This is actually pretty interesting when, especially, you ask AI to do something. The problem. Okay, let's start a bit. If you needed to do something that you really don't know how to do because you don't know the code base or stuff like that, it's really not a good idea to ask the AI to write the code because of the stuff that we were before. Probably won't work. Even if it work, you won't understand anything. And the usual situation is that kind of work, but then in the code review, people ask why you are doing these stupid things, and you don't even know that it was a stupid things because you don't really understand the code. So in this case, the better way is to ask AI, what should I do to do this? And then try to implement yourself. Or tell AI to do, but a small. And then until it's pretty good to discuss with the AI. And you can keep asking question. So why I should use this? You should that, and then you look at the code and you say, actually, the code seems to do something different. And sometimes the AI is right. I mean, I also switch a language. I mean, this current project is in Python, and I knew Python, but not like the Python they use in the big code base. I mean, there's a lot of things that I didn't know. And sometimes I was thinking, oh, this stuff seems wrong, and then you explain, no, actually in Python you need to do this before, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And but it's a good, I mean, to challenge the AI and see they do. For example, also just another real example. I was doing some change in the UI, and then there was some test failing. And then I ask UI, okay, can you fix this test just to make a pass? And what AI did, AI had the rule, don't change the assertion in the test, which usually is a good rule. But in that case, what he did basically hold back all the changes in the UI, so the test was passing again.
Oh, yeah.
Because he doesn't. I mean, the basic setup was, and this is kind of stupidity that not even a super junior developer or stuff like that will do something so stupid.
Yeah.
Because they just use the context and. But they are super fast, so I say no. Put everything back and change the assertion. In this case, it's okay to change. And
you also used a lot role-playing configuration, like talk to me like an expert or talk to me like a junior, and according to the task or the situation. Like
yes, but I don't like very much this. Just this talk like. For example, if you say talk like an expert, it's not that is writing better code. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
they say you are a super expert. Write this code, and then you write better code. No, it's not happening. What's happened is that actually it changed the attitude. So the LLM became arrogant, super not useful. So if you want to say, okay, write the code following DDD principle, following Kent-Beck principle, that's definitely work, and it will try. Also, they have these things now, change of thought. So they write the code, then they take the written code as input, and then check again if it following. I mean, was matching what you asked for, and but also, yeah, sometimes they write it too much. So you said, okay, assume that I know what I'm talking about. Or on the other side, if is for example, I'm using AI to learn a new language. Okay, let's do this stuff in Elixir. So talk to me like I was a beginner in Elixir and explain me every single point.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I would go for the last question from Jackie, and then I would close. So, have you used any AI assistance agents and tools outside of the code? Any thoughts or experience on that?
I mean, I use a lot of ChatGPT, even for coding related stuff, or Gemini. I mean, meaning that just to refine the requirements, to understand which technology would be better, how. Or there is a lot of discussion that you can have before writing code, and a chat engine is usually better than do on the cursor, let's say.
Okay.
And then, of course, there are other tools completely unrelated to coding, like from having the summarizing of a document, summarizing documents, translation, stuff like that.
Okay, awesome. I'm checking the time. We wanted to be 30 minutes only, so I think I need to thank everybody for joining and contributing with questions. Thank Uberto a lot for joining us from Japan, and thanks Alessandra for making it possible.
Yes, thank you both for sharing your knowledge and your insights, and of course for your time. Uberto, please keep us updated as soon as your book will be published and available for purchase. And for anyone interested in exploring more about this topic, just drop us an email. So thank you so much, and to the next episode. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.